I used to play Grand Theft Auto 5 in Boston.
And then you started doing that, or what?
Well, no. So Grand Theft Auto 5 takes place in Southern California, in LA.
Right.
And, you can have your own apartment and office and cars and all that, whatever, right? You can have everything pretty much as in real life.
Gotcha.
Well, I had an office in downtown LA, which looks very similar to this in downtown San Diego. I had a black BMW, which is very similar to the one that I drive.
Right.
I used to drive to the airport and pretend in Grand Theft Auto that I was picking up my family and friends to go show them my place, and that shit happens.
No way.
All the
you
stuff.
did that in Grand Theft Auto?
But I was
that's
visualizing.
That's the better way to do it. I saw this, I predicted differently. I'm like, oh, Grand Theft Auto, you started stealing cars or what?
Oh, yeah. No, I actually drive the speed limit in Grand Theft Auto.
Do you?
So, yeah, oh, yeah. No, not all the time. I'm still killing hookers, but, in all reality, I think that whatever you can use as a tool, like maybe it's watching a movie about a rich guy and visualizing that being you.
Totally.
Whatever works for you, and everybody's different. Everybody's brain works differently, but that really works for me.
Yeah, and there's a science behind that too.
Yeah,
right?
no, it is.
They did case studies where they had one subject group actually play the piano, like a physical piano, and they were playing it but without an instructor, without actually learning. They're just hitting the keys. Then they had another group of doing the same thing without a piano, just in the mind, just hitting keys. And then they had a third group where it was, okay, they're playing the physical piano, but someone's teaching them, they're learning. And then the fourth group is they're playing in their head, but someone's also teaching them and learning.
Yep.
And the ones that they're playing in their head and playing in real life are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are they're hitting random keys.
Right.
Their brain map hit the same type of frequencies, the same type of energy that was being outputted than physically touching it, than thinking about it in the head.
Right.
So there's science behind that. It literally is the same. Your brain doesn't know the difference.
Right.
And if you continue thinking the same way and continue imagining the same thing, eventually you'll start to come into the physical manifestation of it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first things to do is write it down, because you're physically putting it into the world that's in your head.
Yep.
So many people forget to write their goals down every day. It's like, how are you going to get it if you're not going to write them down every day, right? And why just one? Write down everything. Like there's this one, and I love doing this. It's an exercise I created called Future Self Now.
Okay.
And so basically you create a story, and I do this part of my morning routine. You create a story of the future, but you act like it's now. So like, example, one story, and this was before I started flying private, but one story when I was writing it down was, I'm flying private jet with my friends. We're shooting YouTube videos, and we're going to work with it. Like just like as it's happening right now, I'm doing this, and I create a story. The next day it's a story about motive. The next day it's a story about traveling somewhere else. Like it just all these different stories, but as it's happening now, and I'm feeling as I'm going through the motion of writing it, like it's happening.
Right.
And that's helping manifest it.
Yeah.
There's already a lot of stories, if I scroll all the way to the beginning, that have already manifested, and now I'm like, my stories are crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for those.
That's so cool. Have you heard of the movie Everything All at Once?
Yes, I saw it.
Dude. Okay, so I watched that on an airplane.
It's a trip, huh?
It's a trip, but it I
think it's true.
It's true.
I think there's all these different realities, and you're like every choice that we make is shifting us into that reality.
Yeah. So let's give the viewers and listeners just like a quick kind of idea of what this is. So basically in this movie, this girl is a woman who owns a laundromat, and she's having tax issues, and she's getting audited by the IRS. And as she goes into the office, she sees this note that basically says, do this random thing with your shoes, do this, go into the, the laundry closet, and
random things like eat gum off the bottom of the desk.
Yeah.
Stuff that you wouldn't do in this world, right? Like,
yeah. And then all of a sudden she ended up in this different universe where it was very similar, but if she had made a different choice. And the longer this movie goes on, the longer it shows how much your individual choices impact your whole life. And it gets really extreme and kind of weird and confusing towards the end, but the whole point is your thoughts create your reality, and your thoughts move you to the next step, the next thing that you're going to do, right? Like if I'm going to, like I could just get up and walk out of this podcast, and that would send this podcast in a completely different direction than if we just kept going, right? Like that'd be fucking weird if I got up and walked out, but that would
like,
completely...
okay, this is my new spot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I live here.